Today is July the 16th, 2020. This is the Service Hero Show. 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter. I am your host. We tell the stories that are inspiring so that you will be inspired by others. Let's do this. Today we are successful in our second show with Trip Elix. This is a gentleman I met a little while ago, and actually he reminded me of that. He reminded me of that the other day, and it was like, oh my goodness, I remember that. However, I am so impressed as I was doing all this research and everything. I had invited him on the show, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what it is that he knows how to do. And then he reminded me, I'm like, oh, of course. I remember being ever so amazed at the abilities of this gentleman and the experience that he has. We are going to be continuing a discussion that we started a couple days ago in regards to being, able to maneuver through the internet. There are ways of being able to do that and actually have a good time. Yet we need to be aware of how it is to protect ourselves, how to protect those that we care for, and to be also open to learning new things. So this man, let me just tell you this, a service hero extraordinaire. He has written a book that we're actually going to talk about that I am so grateful for, and that is that we need to keep our kids safe on the internet. And he not only wrote the book, he's created images and fun and everything around that. And I want to thank you for that, because that's huge.
Yeah, and unlike most of your other guests, I actually had the opportunity to have lunch with you.
Yes.
Unlike the rest of the internet, we have actually met in person.
Yeah, absolutely, we have. And
tell me something. I know you've got your 365 days of awesome. I know where that came from, but what's her name?
Oh, Tasha.
Tasha, yes. I can't find her on Facebook if you don't remember the girl's first name.
Yes, Tasha. Tasha is a beautiful woman who has traveled the world, a videographer, and would give these challenges out very, sparingly, because she wants to make sure someone's going to follow through with it. Little did I know that 3 years, on my third year now of.
Wow, it's been that long?
Oh, can you believe it? I know. Craziness. Yeah. Well, it's actually been over 2 years. It's been over 2 years, but I'm on the third year of shows now.
Wow. I know it's been a while ago that we met, and I just didn't realize. I didn't know if it was when it was really. I just remembered meeting you and seeing your occasional pop-ups on Facebook when you were doing your show, because we met and we friended each other in the room because we were watching another speaker, actually.
Absolutely. And that's the way it works. And I want to give a lot of credit to those that have in the past and currently, and I'm going to go here, that have put on these abilities to meet people. These summits is what they're called. And we would often travel to these places and have an opportunity to meet like-minded, purpose-driven people that have a variety of different skills, variety of different backgrounds. Now we are doing the summits on the internet, and that really even goes along to what it is that your background is, Trip, because in fact, you brought up Dr. Don McGrath, the one that does the climbing and such. He's a best-selling author and has a number of patents. Brilliant man, very kind, and he has started to educate those that are involved in the speaking world through a program. And recently, he's pivoted again, and I'm actually helping him right now. We are in the middle of putting together coursework for online summits, and so that we can, have people can still have the connection with each other. And it couldn't be better timing to have you on today, because there was something that I said when we were having some of the issues the other day with the connectivity, and that was that sometimes people can be scared of their devices. We have the smart TVs now, which you were educating me are not so smart, because our computers are much more smart because they have updates and such things. I
Sure.
let's do this. Your background is something I really think that people need to understand who you are, so that when we are talking, they're going to say, "Oh, he may know a thing or five." Yeah, we're skipping 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah, yes. Okay, so Trip, you are you're one of the you're one of the, I would say, elite people that have had an opportunity to work with some of the best companies in this arena, internet
Sure.
security, internet.
Sure. Yeah,
So
I have. And I started out, I worked for you've heard of the Fortune 500 and the Fortune 100. There's also a Fortune 50 in the United States that actually owns a lot of everything. So I did security in the banking industry for a company that owns three of the buildings on Wall Street. And I did that for quite a few years. Um, the thing about figuring out who's tracking you and the travesty of the internet was a personal story for me, because I resonate around the hacking world. It has it's not about people with white hats and black hats. It's, if you understand security, you understand that anybody can be compromised and become a black hat that you trusted. So you don't, there's layers of trust. Well, at any rate, what happened was I got a business card from a police detective in my mailbox. And on the back of his card said, "Please call me," which I didn't know what this could be and why a police detective would be reaching out to me. But generally, if I'm not involved with a court case working for an attorney, which I've done, or some form like that, not that kind of contact. That is meaning that I'm wanted for something else, and I didn't know what that could be. So I reached out to a couple of attorneys that told me, "Do not call him. You don't want to find out. Do not call." Well, I did anyway. And what I found out is that there was a. Do you remember when you signed up with Sprint and it would give you a free iPhone? Do you remember that program?
I remember that program. I never did, but I
Yeah.
remember that program.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't do it either. I used a different carrier and I didn't care. But apparently this Jamaican gang did, because what they did is they bought the private information of everybody within 20 blocks of my house, and that wasn't on Sprint, and signed us up for Sprint using our name, address, phone number, social security number, and got us a contract. And then Sprint sent out iPhones. And what happened was the FedEx driver was supposed to steal the phones so that they could sell them on eBay. But the police arrested the FedEx driver. And to compound this, the reason that my local police found out about it was that the FBI had contacted them because they had done it in 5 other states. So immediately I knew that somebody had to have sold that detailed information. It wasn't just bought from a plain old marketing quote company that included all that data. And then I found out through research that actually one of the 3 credit reporting agencies sold the information, and I have no ability to sue them over that. If I could, I would.
Oh my goodness.
So what it comes down to is there are 2 different ways of selling your data. One is called lists. And a list is something very simple, like you wear glasses, you use hair coloring, and you like white dresses. Okay, these are all just different lists, and they can be plopped together and sorted together. And the other is called a portfolio. And what a portfolio is buying the details about an individual. And just for a highlight, things that I can list off that I know are for sale include the sizes of your clothing, the names and ages of your children, grandchildren, the name of your spouse, the name of your mother, the maiden name of your mother, what drugs you take, what prescriptions you take, how often you take the prescriptions. Other things are past cars. All your security questions that you've given to the utilities have been sold at this point. So when you do answer the security questions, you can, if a criminal wants to, they can just buy them, and just buy the entire list of everything. And by the way, our heads are worth pennies. We're worth fractions of a cent. I always hear these people that go, well, yeah, I'll sell my data and I'll make money off of it. The average transaction is somewhere around a quarter of a penny. So the amount of information that gets sold about all of us is worth well over $250 billion a year. And that comes from a whole bunch of quarter pennies.
Oh my goodness gracious. So let me ask you this. I mean, okay, and first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for setting the stage for what it is that you know, and I also, before we get into the questions that I have, I wanted to also let everyone know that if you have any questions for Trip while we're visiting right now, and we're live, I'd love to see them in the comments, and so that we've got this amazing opportunity, and if you would have any questions, I'd like to share that. And also the thing about Trip that's amazing is that you are both brains. You have the computer and the technical and that piece of it, but you're also that fun, you got the personality, you got, you look at things on both sides of the coin, and not everybody is able to do that, quite honestly.
Yeah, I wish that sometimes I could turn that that side off, because I'm wicked ODD now. I mean, we all are.
There you go. We and before I go into the other, I want to also bring up this image, the image of your book with the kids.
Okay, cool.
Because this is one of the things I before we get into some of this other, there's some of the images of the kids, and here's the book. Okay, so protecting kids online. We started talking about this, and then everything kind of went cattywampus
Yeah,
on the
well, yeah,
last
my cell phone battery died. Yes.
and that's okay. So this is why I want to start
We're
here.
plugged in today.
Yeah, we are, and we got it going on, so we're good today. And this subject right here, when I had my children, now I have grandkids, but when my kids were young, I was one of those mothers in the very beginning that was like, okay, I'm not doing any kind of screens. I'm not doing any of the games. I'm not doing any of this. And someone took me aside and said, what do you want to do? You want them to live in the dark ages. You want to take the ability for them to thrive in a world that's where it's going. They need to be able, and you need to either embrace it and be responsible with that embracing, or you can turn the blind eye and take the consequences of what that looks like. So I decided to become as educated as I could as a mom, and it was enough to start freaking me out to say, oh my goodness, what are we opening ourselves up to? And that was a while ago, because my kids have kids. So what I ended up doing is figuring out places where we would have, because back in those days it wasn't like now where everybody has a computer almost in their phone, where we would have something in a public area where it could at least be monitored and the kids would get their chances on the computer. And so when I was looking and I realized that this is, you are helping us to keep our kids safe. And then you were even sharing other things that we will be talking about, some stuff today and some stuff we're not going to be. However, the bottom line is this: you need to be following this man. This man has so much education when it comes to our social media, internet, protecting ourselves, protecting our kids. But I really want to go here for some basics. What can we be doing to protect our kids?
Well, so first, before we go into protecting your kids, there's a couple myths out there. First of all, it's not just for marketing. All the data is being used literally against us for price setting for everything from insurance to bank loans. But the other key important point is you didn't agree to any of this stuff. This is forced on you by big companies that bullied their way in. They made agreements like Facebook, for example. When you signed up for it, they give you an agreement to check off that you agreed. You didn't read it. Nobody does. And if you do read it, it's doublespeak and it's written that way so that you won't read it. And furthermore, they changed their policies at their whim. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't apply. And the other side that is the most important in the United States is the way that laws get set and contracts get solidified. Two things have to happen. One is somebody has to execute the agreement, meaning that some company has to stand by their agreement and stand up with it, and they haven't. Nobody has been sued over it yet. The second is that the way to think about your data is kind of like flowers in a park. I mean, we enjoy parks and we see flowers. If somebody sets up a little shop with a wheelie cart and starts picking the flowers in the park, they'll grow back, but they're making money off of the data at the public expense. What you do is the same thing the big players do. And they will protest and they'll say, this is illegal, this is foul, this is crap. You don't have to tell the truth. You don't have to tell the truth on the internet. It is nobody's business, is an answer that I give often when people ask me questions. I had a grocery store ask me for my date of birth, and I gave them, and I said, you want the year I was born? No, we need the exact date. And I said, no. And the person just looked completely confused, like, oh, well, why don't I give that to you? Because the date of birth, your name, and your social security number make up a triangle that comes directly to you. These are the keys to your identity. Where you live and this other superfluous information comes back to the key. So what you do about your children and the internet, first is you teach your children to lie.
Wow.
The internet is not something to be trusted at any point in time. And you may not realize this, but there are apps that the porn industry has made for the Xbox, the PlayStation, and every video game system out there. They are directly trying to get to children and to make children their customer as soon as possible, around 5. So these companies are by the way, there's if you go out to a web browser and you type in Pornhub space Xbox, you'll see the ad on Pornhub for all the game machines that they support. These companies also sell the data of who you are. So and I was reading the chat. Yes, you do need to stand up and take care of your children. The other thing is Google is part of this. They got sued, fortunately, for collecting information on kids and selling it. They got sued for selling it, not for collecting. It's a really important distinction.
Really? They could collect it as long as they weren't selling and making any kind of revenue on it.
As long as they don't get caught.
Okay, I see. That's the operative word. Okay.
Okay, your child is your child until the age of 13 years old. Congress set that as the age of consent for selling their activities online. So you can you can legally advertise to a 13-year-old. And they do. If you've ever looked at the games and the other things, but the other side of it is with your children, not only disinformation, meaning when they sign up for an account, sign up with some other name, they can let their friends know who they are and they don't have to teach them not to put their name online. Okay. At all, ever. Mm-hmm. Okay, and what happens if you already did? It's not a big deal. Change it, because data changes about 2 years. In other words, the data about you has changed in the last 2 years. You're no longer buying that particular brand of that. You've changed and modified your behavior, and now we're in this pan thing. So we've got other choices and other things and other ways that we move. So our data evolves and changes. So you can start this today to stop giving out so much information and spoil the soup. And what I mean by spoil the soup, well, part of the companies that are tracking everything include the television industry, meaning the cable providers, Dish, and all those companies. They all collect what programs you watch and how long. So if you're a really bad person, I have adopted a number of new religions and I turn them on and I watch them whenever I'm not home.
Okay. So
disinformation. Use your loyalty card.
Throw them off the track. Throw them off.
Throw them off the track. And I'll tell you, your loyalty card, I'll tell you a way that you can make some money out of this. Okay, greed, and it through the data brokers is unbelievable. There are 2 different loyalty systems that are out there. One is a more or less a banking system. So you buy a product, you get points, and your points stack up, and then you can spend your points and get some kind of amount off. Okay, and this is typical across half the industry. And then the other part of the industry goes with what's called instant gratification. In an instant gratification system, it keeps track of how much you're spending at a particular moment and over time, and gives you gratification. In other words, a discount or whatever. The drugstore industry. Now, let's start off with the drugstore industry, because people automatically assume that I'm talking about the little pharmacy that has 10 employees and a pharmacist who has the neighborhood and everybody knows who he is.
Yeah,
that
right.
Has been bulldozed over for a mega giant and replaced him with a $15 employee and could give 3 shits about what you think about it. Okay, that's the companies. So what you do is you get their loyalty card. They use a barcode system on their cards, right? Mm-hmm. That barcode is unique to you. Or is it? What you can do with your barcode is, if you put it on a photocopy machine and press 40 and make 40 copies of that barcode and cut them out really closely so that you can take those barcodes and stick them on your friends and your neighbors and your relatives' cards themselves and trick the computer. So instead of you going in with your individual cards and you racking up maybe $20 a month, and your neighbor, I'm not saying, this is the thing, these guys are the greedy ones, not us. So if you stick those barcodes on all those cards, instead of spending $20 a month and getting this little drizzly coupon that says you can get a stick of gum for $2 off, instead you end up spending, because everybody is running the same barcode, the computer thinks you're all one person, you're marvelous, you're spending $5,000 a month with this, and you can have free eggs, I don't know what to do with free pantyhose. I give it to other people. But I mean, you get all kinds of freebies zip out of the register every time you go, because the computer thinks that you're all one person. It doesn't have eyes. And the person that's behind the counter, they're getting paid like minimum wage. They're not going to look at the card.
Right. Okay, so that's a lot of information here. What I'm processing right now is that right now we're talking about and I want to bring this up from Skip.
It's just all data. It's right. Just data.
Gaming platforms recently identified for very bad actors communicating dark strategies within the games. Okay, so that's the games.
Yeah, now, but that's really not anything new. And this is a thing that the gaming industry, most of the gamers that are out there, okay, let's talk about the hardcore gamers. They're all about my age, literally. The game industry started back when I was, I'm not going to tell you how old I was, but I remember when the first console got invented, and it grew up and progressed and got to the point where when my daughter was like 12 years old, I got a console for her, and it was like $400. I mean, it wasn't a cheap device, and I used it more than she did, and actually I think I ended up with it, and because she wanted something else. The whole thing is, the industry has been riddled with hacks and an underworld for a very long time, including the computer stuff. It's always had a side of trying to take advantage of the system, cheats, and I mean, I'm going to change the subject on you really quick, but can you guess the three most popular ways you can get a virus on your device. The three different sites you can go to that are most likely to give you a virus. I'll give you an idea. The first one is video games. If you go searching for video game cracks, you will get a virus. Do you know the other two?
Let's see. Okay, video games. I'm not sure.
Pornography. If you
Okay.
go out to porn sites, some of the porn stuff is outside the country, and those are also riddled with viruses and can give you viruses. You know what the third one is? It really surprised me, and then it made a lot of sense. But if you're really devoutly religious and you look for religious chats and other things online, those are also riddled with viruses. But they're riddled with viruses for another reason. That is that people put up websites and they don't upgrade them as they should, and they get hacked and riddled, and then everybody that visits got something. And by the way, it's not just little sites that get hacked. Twitter got hacked 2 days ago. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't. I'm not a big Twitter person. I don't quite even understand it. I mean, I have some Twitter accounts, but I'm not really active on them. So
yeah, the big accounts like Joe Biden, Elon Musk, Obama, Donald Trump's personal site or account. What they did is they were doing saying that they were collecting for charity and to send in turn dollars to Bitcoin, and apparently the Biden camp got like 10 grand in Bitcoin. That was not, they didn't have anything to do with this. It was actually done by whoever this hacking crew is.
I wonder if that's the same one that was going after my people that I was telling you about when last time, because it had something to do with the charity issue and everything. And that's that, you know, we'll say that for another discussion. We'll have to have you on again.
Go ahead and ask your other question.
Well, where I wanted to go with all of this, well, actually I wanted to switch gears at some point and go into how we can safely work and enjoy, you know, social media right now is such an important piece of, if you will, connection through a time where people are feeling very isolated and alone. And especially like my nonprofit, I don't want my buddies worried that, oh no, now I'm all freaked out because of the fact that this may be happening or that may be happening. You share, and that's why you do your podcasting and your YouTube and all of these things. You let us all know that there are ways to be able to find out if your Instagram's been hacked, find out this or that, and be able to do it as with at least an educated idea of how you're going to forward. Like when we were talking 2 days ago, and we were talking about the TVs and our appliances and all of the things and how we can be in control in our own home. And you had shared ideas there. I want to be able to have my buddies and those that are watching this be somewhat secured and not like, oh, I can't be a part of the community anymore because I'm too freaked out.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, is that the world has changed to a lot. And you realize that the globalization of these companies have literally tried to force their way over. And we have, in the United States, we have a whole bunch of people that just follow whatever. These are truths.
Yeah.
These are truths, and they've been truth forever and ever. So what you can do for yourself is enjoy yourself. Know that these companies are literally out there, and give them disinformation. one of the books that I always encourage people to read, you can get this online. It was written, I think, in the 3rd century by Tung Tzu, and it's called The Art of War.
Oh yeah, Art of War.
Okay,
yes.
Read or listen to The Art of War. It's free on YouTube, and it gives the battle plan for living a life in harmony, knowing that there's a thing of being blissfully ignorant, and that is ignoring all those things around you. And it's another to be aware of oneself and be in control of oneself and realize that the adversary isn't really a threat. And this is true with these big companies in our lives, is we're not in a threat from a Facebook. The Facebook is more afraid of the group of us than it wants to believe. So is the Google. So is your senator, by the way. They are scared to death of us. They are scared to death that we will vote against them and vote them out of office.
Yeah.
So that's why the marketing industry is really about politics. That is its mean. If there's a Christmas season every year for us, in politics, every 2 and 4 years is the Christmas season for the marketing companies, because they get to sell our data to politicians for them to do fundraising and to set what the marketing companies say is our opinion on important things like school funding, school choice, for example. Being able to take your child and pick whatever school your child wants, that you want your child to go to. And I don't know what kind of idiot goes, I want my kid to go to the crummy school. I mean, we're told this over and over again on media. We want the crummy school, damn it.
Right.
Yeah. Who would do that?
Well, I will answer this. You mentioned it a moment ago. There are a few people out there, maybe a few more than we would like to think, that are asleep. They're not paying attention, and so
they are everywhere, including on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And with them, God bless them. It's okay. You can do whatever it is that you're doing. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to, if you complain, I'm not going to, I might acknowledge your complaint and think about it and see if I agree. And if I don't, you're not hurting my feelings because you disagree with me. I honestly, I can't live my life that way.
Right. And so where I'm going with this is that you acknowledge the fact that there are so many people that are just willing to have their eyes closed. And so they're not even going to be recognizing the fact that they're being asked where they would want their kids to go.
We were told that the revolution that we had with England had the full support of the people. That is so far from the truth. I mean, literally, Washington's troops were in the hundreds, where there were thousands of people that sheltered in their homes, hid from the British and hid from the American army, and supported both of them, gave them both food. And what was really funny is that if you've read any of the letters going back and forth from the period, you would realize that the American people weren't really for either one of them. They were really for whoever won.
Yeah. I'm fascinated with that area too, that time. Oh, absolutely.
So when we're talking about
mm-hmm.
talking about these big companies and stuff, take what you can from them. Don't give them any levity, and just shield yourself. There's a program that you could put on your cell phone. You can put on your computer device, and if you listen to media, they'll tell you that doing that makes you look like a criminal. Doing it sets the NSA off to watch what you're doing. These are lies by the marketing industry, because there's this thing in the sea of information of the internet. There is an island of privacy, and it's called Tor.
What is it called?
Tor, T-O-R.
Okay.
And it is a system that was set up originally by the State Department and security company and the security mechanism in government to safely transmit information across the internet anonymously. So if you put the Tor browser on your phone or on your computer and you fire it up, you can look up things on the internet and nobody knows who you are. They don't know your IP address. Gets changed every 5 minutes to a different IP address, and it bounces around the internet about 12 times before it gets to the target. Now, things you don't do with Tor. You don't go on Facebook with Tor, okay? You don't go on Google with Tor. You don't go on YouTube or Netflix. With Tor, it's silly to do that because you got to log in. So these guys all belong to what I call the dark empire. The dark empire meaning they steal your data and they use it against you. So use Google Chrome for them. Let Google track you and let all these things track you, whatever, because you're doing things that support the companies that steal your data. But on the other side of it is, if you want to go out and look up how much something is, there are other things that you can do. Use a different browser or use Tor. I made a mistake myself, an accident. I use, by the way, I'll give you a real, did I talk about this yesterday about the cell phone? Okay, if you want to save some money on your cell phone, grab a piece of paper and a pen, because I'll tell you a great deal.
Okay.
I found this company called Red Pocket Mobile.
Okay.
And what you get from Red Pocket Mobile, when you buy a plan from them, they give you 3 chips. They give you one for Verizon, one for AT&T, and one for T-Mobile. So you can be on a system and you don't have to change phones. You can decide a SIM chip in that matches what you already had. So this is for before the unlocked phone thing. You can buy an unlocked phone now, and those are really common over the last couple of years. Right. But I don't do that either. By the way, Red Pocket Mobile, I buy a 365, they're a month-to-month carrier. Okay. I buy a 365-day plan for them for $264 for 3 gigs of data, unlimited calls, and unlimited text. That comes out to $22 a month.
Wow.
Now, I compound that with a phone that I get off of, I get this is called a Note 4. I get the Note 4 off of eBay. I'm probably going to upgrade the next time, but I'll tell you why I like this phone. This phone I buy off of eBay for $60. Okay? If I break the screen on this phone, it costs $100 to fix the phone. So I don't get the screen fixed, I just buy a new phone. And because it's Samsung,
right?
It has a utility. Apple has the same utilities that you can back up the device to your computer. So I'll lose a couple contacts and maybe a couple pictures if I broke it tomorrow. Okay.
Right.
And I get another phone. I'm back in business. I slide my SIM in it. And I've got a drawer full of broken phones downstairs because I've broken the screen so many times. And I just got tired of, these people that spend, I heard there is a $2,500 smartphone now.
Oh, what?
A $2,500 smartphone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is just like mind. I thought you said that. I just wanted to make sure I got that correct.
Yeah, a $2,500 one.
Wow.
So the thing is, just buy. Yeah, and I will talk about that. That's a great question. Thank you. The thing is, these companies, they track your phones and they listen to you. By the way, the spooky things in life. A lot of people say that their phone listens to them. And what I found, and please reach out to me if I'm wrong, but what I found so far is the only app that does that is Facebook Messenger. If you remove that from your phone, that goes away. I don't get, let me tell you a little bit about me. I get very little in the mail. Granted, I'm older, I'm not in my 30s, and the mail and marketing curve comes down when you get older anyway. But I don't get any mail. I don't get pop-up ads. I don't have advertising on my Facebook in general. I don't have advertising on Twitter. Mm-hmm. When I visit news sites, I see kind of generic ad spaces or blanks because I use blocks. Most of the news sites get mad at me and say you're not allowed to visit because you've got ad blockers. So all you do is you put another web browser on your computer. And I did this earlier. I wanted to read something that was in Forbes. Forbes sells your data and they got a whole bunch of trackers on it. So I saw the Forbes article on social media. I clicked on the link. Forbes pops up and says, we're not going to show this to you. You have an ad blocker. So what I do is I copy the URL at the top. I open another web browser, Firefox, and paste it into Firefox. And then I can read whatever it is that I wanted to read. And yeah, somebody can track my Firefox session. And how bad is it? And we'll get to the Corona question in a second, but how bad is it? Can you use a VPN? Well, most of the VPN providers are out there as VPN providers, so they can better track you and sell just your information, and they know who you are. That is how devious these guys are. You asked me before we were online, what was a data pimp?
Yeah.
And that's what I call these guys. If you imagine a person that is in the process of selling sex and has, just imagine a guy that's got a big shiny car and $1,000 suit and a briefcase. And I'm not talking about the trial attorney here. I'm talking about somebody that sells data. Basically, that's their business. And they might have really nice things, but they're in the theft business. They really don't care. They will steal and sell anyone's anything. There is no such thing as private. And if you get too close to them, they'll threaten you with selling what porn you watch. That's what these guys do. And Congress is afraid of them because they know when they get into Congress and they get into the judicial session, the judicial committee, they discover that all their private stuff, everything they've ever done on the internet, and some things they didn't do on the internet, pictures and other things, suddenly are available. And if they don't keep their mouth shut and leave the brokers alone, the world's going to find out about it. Yes, our data is used for blackmail. That's its only purpose. So
Ooh,
disinformation, screw with your own data, mess it up. Now, contract tracing, this is another excuse for the data broker industry to find out where everybody's at. Put an app on your phone, get the carriers to put an app on your phone, or better yet, the carriers just track your device for them. But the funny thing is, there was a party in LA and they couldn't track everybody because there was too many. They didn't know who was at the party. So the people that were at the party, they were younger, they got subpoenaed to tell the police who was at the party to disclose because the devices couldn't do it. It's none of these guys' business. And this virus thing is real, but at the same time, if I'm staying at home, they don't need to know that. That's none of their business.
Right.
It's none of anybody's business if I violate that at any given point. The danger that, let's talk about masks real quick, because we talked about Corona and brought it up. My mask is not up here. It's down in the car. I have what's called a respirator. I use a big scary mask that has cans on it. And I'm not being infected. Those masks that you have, including the surgical masks, those do nothing.
Right, yeah.
They literally do nothing. The reason that we got to be 6 feet from each other is because your mask does nothing. My mask blocks the quote virus and just about everything else. If it gets down to 3 micron, nobody seems to know how small this thing gets. But if it gets down to 3 micron, then it gets through my mask too. I don't think I've gotten hit by it yet, and I'm going to try not to be hit by it because it's going to mutate.
So yours is one of those ones that is like if there was,
like you paint a car with.
Right. Okay. All right.
That's exactly what mine was sold for, is painting cars.
Oh, really? Is it a full one that goes on your whole head, or is it just...
No, it just goes across my nose and my mouth. I'm not going to wear a shield because I don't have splatter. I don't have people coughing in my face, and that's what the shields are about, is to keep liquid from hitting you. And I see people walking around, and the people with gloves, this is really important. When you're walking around, you want to be sanitary and safe. The people with gloves are a danger to you. Stay away from them, because the people with gloves will touch literally everything, and they spread virus around.
Right.
We wash our hands.
Right.
But the glove people, no, they stick them in their car. It's already been infected. They walk into a new place and they touch stuff with their gloves. Just stay away from the glove people.
All right. So, I know that we're getting towards the end of the hour. Yeah, we're going to have you back again.
Anytime, dear. And listen, you're going to need to come on to my show and talk about what you do. Because you need more of a following, and we can certainly, I'd love to introduce you to my Twitter sphere.
Okay. Done. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I really appreciate it. Now, if you want to follow me, my name's at the bottom. I'm on every form of social media. Masks, like putting up a chain link fence to keep out the mosquitoes. Yeah, pretty much. Most of them. If you have an N95 mask, those actually do block, but the problem with them is the paper ones, how we got here. The reason that we got here is that, one, manufacturing just didn't have enough real masks, and government decided that the best thing to do was to let manufacturing speed up, and it never did. But the manufacturing sold us out, really. 3M sold us out. They were selling product overseas when we started to recognize that we needed it. If you have stock if you have it in a mutual fund with 3M, dump them. They're not an American company anymore. They did more harm. They killed people by not allowing masks to be available. They violated our trust. Until the CEO, and I can't remember what his name is, I'll start talking about himself. Till that guy goes away, no more. That company is bad news.
So, okay, so yes, we're getting towards the top of the hour, and we'll get you back here. And yes, thank you for the invitation.
Sure.
I really do want people to follow you. Anybody that is interested, and you're going to be having, and we're not going to get into the subject matter right this minute, but you're going to have a very interesting show that some that are here right now, and you know who you are, would be very interested in watching. You will be live on Facebook
Friday, and I'll be live. The way that I broadcast is I go on social media at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fridays, and I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and I throw a link on LinkedIn and one on Parler. So I throw a live link on those systems. If you go out to my blog, which is Elix.com, and just go to my blog, you'll see my next show, which is called Killing Ghislaine Maxwell, who is the woman from the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein. She pled not guilty the other day, and her life is overdue. Somebody is going to whack her and keep her quiet. So it's going to be a Hoover moment. If you don't know what a Hoover moment means, it's a reference to the old director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover.
It's not the vacuum cleaner. I already done that.
But I'm Tara. I am so glad. I said that wrong, Tamara. I am so glad to reconnect with you, sweetie. I really am, and I will look up Tasha and and we all met together at the same conference. We spent like 4 days, was it, together or something like that? Yeah, and it's the little things that happen to you. The thing is, you can make plans for the big event, okay? And 3 days before the big event, you go meet a couple people, and those people are going to have more impact than the other people that you planned on meeting.
Yeah.
And certainly you have done that for me, my dear.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm so happy that yes, we've reconnected, and you know, thank you for all that you've shared today. Thank you. And Trip, yes, an awesome trip. I love that. Trip, an awesome trip. Love him. Yes, me too. You know, he's one of us. So thank you for being with us. I will definitely have you back, and
I promise next time I will have something other than Garino.
You know, it works. It works because it's more important to have you here. And then thank you for everything. I have to just say that he's educating me as we go too, which anybody that knows me knows that that's a very good thing, because hey, I'm here. Yes, I now know you don't pay for a hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I'm learning, guys. So thank you, Trip.
Well,
I'm
thank
not
you.
even going to officially do the whole thing that I knew to end the Service Hero show, because this is just going to be until next time we invite our service hero that is going to help us to navigate the web and to be educated. This is the thing, guys, realize this, please, please, please. All of my buddies, especially right now, know this, that we can get through this. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through it together, and you guys are going to be fine. Do not let it be, and Trip helped me to understand this too the other day. Don't let yourself go to where you're going to get afraid of any of these devices or anything, because they are going to serve us. We can be the ones that are going to navigate through it and have the control. So we'll invite him back, and so that we can make sure that all of you are feeling that safety, because I am certainly not going to let our community be in any which way tripped up in any way but a good way, because of the fact that we can utilize the web for the good that we are using it for, and we can let those others, well, it's like that book he talked about, Art of War. There you go. Read the book. Embrace the book. Embrace what it has to teach us, because there's a lot there for us to all learn. And in doing so, we're going to get through this, and we'll get through it just fine. So thank you so very much for being here with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, and it is, what is it? It's Thursday, so it's Thankful Thursday in the closed group chat. Meet us there, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.